I sold my car to help my younger brother get through tech school. 3 years later, he showed up in a luxury SUV and tossed me his old laptop. Here he said, now you can finally stop complaining. Then he posted a video titled, Why I Cut Off My Broke Sibling. So I sent his school a tip about his plagiarized final project and watched him get expelled publicly. I'm Rob. I live in Joliet, Illinois. I'm 38. I've worked with my hands most of my life. Small engine repair, landscaping, janitorial stuff. I never finished college. I had to take care of my family when I was still a kid myself. My brother Cody is 10 years younger than me. We grew up in a small ranch house near Route 30. Our dad passed away when I was 16. Heart attack. 1 minute he was in the garage working on a snowblower. Next minute I'm calling 911 while my little brother cries in the corner. Mom fell apart for a while after that. She worked overnight shifts as a nurse, barely home. I stepped in because I had to. Got Cody up in the morning, made him breakfast, helped with his homework, packed his lunch. When he was sick, I stayed home with him. When bullies gave him hell in middle school, I showed up at the principal's office. That kid was everything to me. Still is, in some messed up way. I gave up college to stay close. Took a job at Dad's old repair shop, then another job cleaning offices at night. I didn't complain. I figured my time had passed, but maybe I could help Cody have a better shot. When Cody finished high school, he got into a tech program in Austin. Cybersecurity stuff. He said it was cutting edge, big money in it. He was excited. But he didn't have enough for tuition. Some aid, yeah, but not nearly enough to move and live there. He didn't ask me straight up. Just hinted around, said stuff like, if I had just a few grand more, I could really make it work. I got the message. I told him I'd help. I didn't have savings. Barely had a working car, a 2006 Honda Accord. It wasn't flashy, but I kept it clean, kept it running. That car was the one nice thing I had. I sold it for $5,000 and gave the money to Cody. No strings. No talk of payback. I just handed it over and told him, don't waste this. You're meant for more than this town. He hugged me. Said he'd never forget what I did. Said I was the reason he was even going to make it. He left the next week. At first, we stayed in touch. He'd call every week or two. He told me about classes, about professors, about the crazy smart people in his program. I was proud even though I had to start biking to work in the middle of winter. Still didn't regret it. But after the first year, he stopped calling as much. Then months would go by without a text. I figured he was busy. I kept making excuses for him. 3 years went by. I hadn't seen him once. Then one Saturday last summer, I'm out front fixing a neighbor's mower, grease on my hands, sweat dripping down my back, and I hear this low humming sound. I look up and see the slick black Tesla Model X pull up. Out steps Cody. I barely recognized him. His hair was styled all sharp. He had this expensive-looking gold chain, white sneakers that looked like they'd never touched dirt. He was wearing a polo shirt that probably cost more than my monthly electric bill. Hey, bro, he said, grinning. I just stood there shocked. He walked around to the back of the Tesla, popped the trunk, and pulled out a beat-up MacBook. Here, he said, tossing it to me. Now you can finally stop complaining. It hit me right in the chest. I fumbled it, almost dropped it. What the hell is this? I asked. My old laptop, he said, like he was doing me a favor. It still works. Thought you could use it since, you're still here. Then he smirked, got back in his fancy car, and drove off. Didn't ask how I was doing. Didn't say thank you. Didn't even stay 5 minutes. I stood there, holding that scratched-up MacBook, feeling like a beggar who just got tossed a moldy sandwich. But it got worse. A few days later, I get a text from a friend. Dude, have you seen Cody's new video? I hadn't. I never really watched his channel. He did tech reviews, motivational stuff, that kind of thing. The video was titled, Why I Cut Off My Broke Sibling. 17 minutes of him talking about how some family just leech off you and get mad when you level up. He said I was jealous of his success and always bitter. He said, and I quote, just because someone gave up their car doesn't mean I owe them my life. He made that choice. I didn't ask him to. I sat there shaking. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just got cold. Real cold. He made me look like some jealous loser who couldn't let go. And the worst part? Thousands of people in the comments were cheering him on. But Cody forgot something. When he was working on his final project, he used to send me drafts. Not because he thought I was smart, but because he said I was good with cleaning up grammar. He was in a rush, wanted to make sure it sounded professional. So I'd read them, fix spelling, tighten up the writing. And I remembered something weird, a paragraph that felt out of place, a little too formal. I had looked it up at the time to see if it was plagiarized, but I never pushed it. Now, with a fire burning in my gut, I searched again. His final project, SecureLink, a new protocol for decentralized authentication, was still up on his school's website as part of their portfolio showcase. I copied sections into Google. Word-for-word matches popped up from a thesis published in 2012. Then more. Then diagrams. Whole sections were just lifted. I couldn't believe how sloppy it was. I collected everything, screenshots, links, timestamps. Put it all in a folder and wrote a short email to his school's academic integrity office. No anger. No emotion. Just the facts. This appears to be heavily plagiarized from published academic work. Here are the sources. I hit send. Didn't hear anything for weeks. Then one morning I get another message from the same friend. Holy crap. He's done. Cody had posted a new video. This one was called Why I'm Taking a Break from YouTube. He looked wrecked. Hair messy. Eyes puffy. The background wasn't his fancy apartment. It was some plain white wall. He said he was dealing with a difficult situation, that some people are trying to sabotage him, and that his degree was being reviewed due to past discrepancies. I checked his LinkedIn. Gone. I checked his company's site. His name was removed from the team page. He was toast, and I wasn't even close to finished. After that video, Cody disappeared online for a while. He didn't post anything. Deleted his Instagram. His Twitter went dark. For a guy who used to share every overpriced coffee and gym selfie, it was like watching a spotlight get yanked off the stage. I didn't expect him to call me, and he didn't. Not for weeks. But then one night around 10:30 p.m., I heard a car outside. I peeked through the curtain. A black SUV was parked out front. Not the Tesla, some basic rental. The lights were off, engine running. Then someone knocked on my door. It was Cody. He looked nothing like the guy who tossed me that laptop. No sunglasses, no cocky grin. He looked tired. Face pale, eyes sunken. I opened the door and just stood there. He stared at me. Said nothing. You going to say something? I asked. Was it you? He asked, voice low. Was what, me? He stepped closer. Did you send the tip to the school? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. You ruined everything, he said. You think you got even? That was my life, Rob. My job, my degree, everything I worked for, everything you stole, I cut in. Don't act like a victim. You took someone else's work and called it your own. I was under pressure, no. Stop. You had choices. You always had choices. I gave you one when I sold my car so you could get out of here. His jaw tightened. His hands balled into fists at his sides. I was doing fine until you couldn't handle not being the hero anymore, he snapped. You needed to knock me down to feel better. I stepped onto the porch, eye to eye with him. No, Cody. I needed you to remember. Remember who got you through when Mom was gone. Who gave up everything so you could get your start. But you didn't just forget. You spit in my face. You made a damn video about it. He looked down. Silent. Then he turned and walked back to his car. Before he got in, he said, You think this is over? You think you won? You didn't. You just made an enemy. I didn't respond. Just closed the door behind me. But he wasn't lying. It wasn't over. 2 weeks later, my job at the community center let me go. No warning. Just said budget cuts. But I found out from a friend who works there someone had sent an anonymous complaint to the board accusing me of using work computers for malicious activity. Total crap. But it stuck. They didn't want the drama. Then the brake lines on my work truck were cut. I noticed before pulling out, thank God. When I checked my cameras, the footage had been wiped. Whole block lost power for 10 minutes the night before. I couldn't prove anything. Then the real kicker, I got audited by the IRS. They claimed I failed to report some business income from years back. I had to hire a tax lawyer just to dig out of that mess. Someone had filed a fake 1099 in my name. All this crap happening out of nowhere. I knew it was him. Had to be. He was smarter than he looked, always was. And now that he had nothing to lose, he was aiming all his anger back at me. I started locking everything down, accounts, passwords, locks on every door and tool shed. But it felt like I was patching holes in a boat that was already sinking. I wasn't scared though. I was angry. He thought he could play dirty? He hadn't seen anything yet. The hits kept coming. After the audit, I started getting weird phone calls. Always from different numbers. Some were just silence. Others were people pretending to be recruiters or insurance reps asking for my social security number to verify your identity. They were clumsy scams but targeted, meant to wear me down. One day, I got a visit from a Joliet police officer. Someone had filed a report accusing me of stealing catalytic converters. Said I was running a backyard chop shop out of my garage. They even provided photos, blurry shots of some guy working under cars, same build as me, same tools I owned. The officer was cool about it, said it didn't seem to add up, but he still had to follow up. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so damn desperate. Cody wanted me buried in trouble. Not just punished, erased. Like he thought if I was distracted enough or scared enough, I'd disappear. But I wasn't going anywhere. And then something changed. A woman showed up at my door. Her name was Justine. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Hair pulled back, sunglasses on even though it was cloudy. She introduced herself fast, nervous. Said she used to date Cody during his second year in Austin. I stepped out onto the porch. You drove all the way here from Texas? She nodded. He messed me up. I found your name on an old text chain, started digging. I was skeptical, but something about her shook voice told me this wasn't some setup. She pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots. Long messages from Cody. Angry, controlling stuff. He threatened to post private photos. Made burner accounts to harass her friends. She said he used to brag that nothing could touch him because he was smart enough to hide his tracks. He's spiraling, she told me. He lost his job, burned bridges with his startup friends, and now he's talking about you like you're his final boss. She had one more thing to show me, a folder she saved to her cloud before she cut contact. Inside it were old emails Cody forwarded to her, showing bits of his project work from school before he changed it all up to plagiarize the final draft. I looked through the emails. Then I saw something strange. He didn't just copy parts of the UT Dallas thesis, he bought sections of the project. From a dark web freelancer forum. Justine said he paid in crypto. Even bragged that the seller was based overseas and would never snitch. That's when it clicked. Cody wasn't just a cheat. He'd been building a career on lies from the beginning. And now that his degree was revoked, all those early clients he consulted for, startups, small firms, even one city tech department, they had all paid him under false credentials. I asked Justine, can I have copies of all of this? She handed over a flash drive. That night, I didn't sleep. I started putting together a timeline. Emails, screenshots, LinkedIn claims, school documents, even the video clips from his YouTube where he described his education journey. It all contradicted itself. In one video, he said he specialized in digital forensics. In another, he said he majored in software engineering. He never once mentioned the capstone project that supposedly got him hired. It was fraud. On every level. And I was done playing defense. Once I had everything, I made 3 copies. One for myself. One I sent, anonymously, to the companies Cody had worked for. They'd hired him based on a degree he no longer had and on a project that wasn't his. Most small startups don't run deep background checks. But they do when a former employee starts dragging their name through the mud, which is exactly what Cody had been doing on Reddit and private Discord servers, claiming they blackballed him. The 3rd copy? That one went to the Texas Attorney General's office, White-Collar Crimes Division. I didn't know if they'd care. But I figured if you claim credentials you don't have to win contracts and get paid, it might matter. It did. 3 months later, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was a woman's voice, official, clipped, professional. She said she was calling as part of an ongoing fraud investigation involving Cody. Asked if I could confirm I was the same Rob whose name appeared on certain files. That's when I knew it was real. Another few weeks go by, and Cody's name shows up in an article. Some local tech news site out of Austin. Headline: Controversial YouTuber and tech consultant under state investigation for credential fraud. It made the rounds. His face, that cocky smile from his channel, plastered next to the words, fraud and plagiarism. His followers turned on him fast. But it wasn't enough. Because what nobody knew, what even I hadn't wanted to admit, was that I needed this. I wasn't just trying to get back at him. I wanted to crush him. I wanted to drag him through the mud he tried to drown me in. And I did. By the end of the year, he was wiped out. His YouTube channel got demonetized after the fraud news. Sponsors dropped him. Clients demanded refunds. One company even sued. He moved back to Joliet for a bit. Stayed in a crappy extended stay motel off I-55. I saw him once at a gas station. He looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. He didn't speak. Just got in his beat-up Corolla, not the Tesla, and drove off. I thought maybe he'd hit rock bottom. But one night, I came home and my place had been broken into. Nothing was stolen, but my tools were scattered, my drawers dumped, and someone had pissed in my laundry basket. I didn't call the cops. I just sat on the couch and stared at the wall for a long time. That was the moment I realized I'd gone too far. I had turned into something bitter. I didn't care about justice anymore. I just wanted pain. And maybe that's on me. Because after everything Cody did, I still remember the kid I used to make peanut butter sandwiches for. The little guy who cried when I dropped him off at kindergarten. The one who ran to me when he had nightmares. I'd burn that bridge. Maybe he set it on fire first, but I kept pouring gas on it. Last I heard, Cody left Illinois again. Might be in Vegas now, trying to start some crypto thing. He's off the radar. I still work my repair jobs. Still live in the same house. But I don't feel proud. Revenge isn't clean. It doesn't wrap up in a bow. It leaves sharp pieces inside you that don't go away. I got him back, sure. But in the process, I lost the only family I had left. And all I have to show for it is a broken laptop, a scarred heart, and a silence that doesn't stop.